guys, let's talk about this 1 second. So, let's talk about this. I just want to use this gif. It was funny. Um, the writer strike is over. So, well, it's over for the writers, but not for the actors. So, which is a good thing. So you're probably saying, so what's going on with James Gunn? What's going on in the universe? So a lot of stuff has came out. If you also know Universal, Warner Brothers is about to get sold to Universal. That's already I've talked about that in nauseum enough. That's the new thing. So what's happening to James Gunn DC Universe after um the sale? Here's what I think. I believe James Gunn is rewriting Superman Legacy. I believe they're doing rewrites right now as we speak. What they had planned or what they had envisioned is different. And what I mean um, is a lot has changed. The writer's strike has did a lot of damage to Hollywood. There's movies that's supposed to come out, they're not coming out. Some people have lost money to this, and it's a problem. So they have to rechange the game a little bit. And what are they going to have to do now is figure out what they can and can't do. Warner Brothers is financially in trouble anyway, so they're not duking out 5 or 6 movies. Like what Warner Brothers did this year, they were already made. So this was pre David Zaslav, pre Discovery. So hey, they thought at least one of these movies would have done well. Not one has done anything. The last one is Aquaman, which I have a funny feeling that's going to surprise a lot of people. And if Aquaman saves them from a drought again, it tells you James Gunn is a person. James Wan is a person I would keep because that's 2 times James Wan has saved DC. Because even back a couple years ago, DC was in the hell pit, and James Wan came out with Aquaman and made $1 billion. I don't think this film's gonna make $1 billion, but I do think James Wan is actually gonna make 600 to $700 million more than these other ones did. I could be wrong too with that too, and I'll come out here and say that. But James Gunn, DCU, um, I believe, like I said, Superman Legacy will be the only project they'll do. If that film does not do well, let me say this again: if it does not do well, they will automatically pull the plug of James Gunn's universe. They won't even talk about it no more. It won't even happen. When Universal take over, they'll reboot it and they'll do something else. They may keep David Corn Sweat, but they'll do it like they did with Blue Beetle. And what I mean is they acknowledge of the film, but not the events in the film. If that makes any sense. Yeah, we kept him, but he's a different version, a different variant version of him. And that's what I think is going to happen if Superman Legacy doesn't do well. So James Gunn with the swamp things of the all that's been put on halt or it's not happening. No studios right now is doing any projects because they lost money due to the writer's strike. And this picture is really symbolic. You know what I'm talking about. Is that the writer's strike killed James Gunn DCU, and what I mean by killing it, it killed them for Swamp Thing, Supergirl, all these other projects he wanted to do. It kind of killed it because now they won't be able to do these projects. Um, it's sad, but in a way, it's like I think it's needed. I think David Zaslav already knew this was coming, so he was like, "Yeah, go ahead." And knowing the back and said, like, "Yeah, none of the shit was going to Greenland anyway," because he knew about the merger, not the merger, but the sell off to Universal. I think all the execs and all the head honchos at the Hollywood studios knew about this writer strike was coming, and it did more damage to the writers than the studio because the studios got rid of the stuff they didn't want to keep anymore. So a lot of studios they lost money, but in reality they didn't because they're like, oh yeah, we canceled this project. Oh, we canceled this project. We canceled, and then a lot of the actors were like, what was going on? Because the actors didn't know every studio was working on getting these stuff canceled regardless. But they can't do that because it's a breach of contract, and times it by 2, they have to pay out more money. So they were like, okay, cool. Y'all want to play games? You will play games. So they're like, oh yeah, the writers came to a settlement. No, what happened was the studio came with this last thing. They're like, if you don't want it, we'll go back. And then I think, what's her name? The nanny had to go with it because she was getting pressured, and she said, you better take this deal. And then they was like, okay, we'll go back to work because she was getting the Writers Guild. Let's say this: when this happened years ago, back in 2007, 6ish, Everybody was for it. Now, not so much because they took so long and people were out of work, and it was a lot more during that time. It was a lot more easier to get what they wanted due to now because you have to write in what the writers need and this and that royalties which they can't get because they are streaming. But it's a lot different than it was 10 years ago, or actually 12, 15 years ago when this shit went down the way it did. Well, actually, longer than that, excuse me. But you get what I'm saying. It's just the landscape has changed. So, yeah. But I really don't think James Gunn universe is going to be off foot. The only one I see is Superman Legacy. When Superman Legacy come through, that's it. It's all written, all stone. It is what it is. If it happens, it happens. Like I said, I think that's going to be the. It's either going to be the nail in the coffin for James Gunn universe, or pretty much the rise of James Gunn universe. It all leads to this film. Because if you notice, James Gunn is now telling people, well, we're not connected into a DC universe, but they stand on their own merits. So that was a whole total different thing you said earlier this year because he got the word. He's like, look, due to this writer strike, due to the sell, yeah, your universe may not get off the ground. So just make a good film. Okay, well, I'll just tell people to make good films. Yeah, that's what you might need to do. He has no choice. So now I think they're probably going back to rewriting the script, and all the characters that he did have in there, either screen will be cut down or they'll be taken out. I don't think all the characters he wanted to add in there are going to be added in there. Rumor was going around Plastic Man was going to be, he's not going to be in there now. I think the characters that he announced will be in there, but their screen time has been reduced. I believe there'll be a little cameo and call it a day and go back to focus on Superman because I believe now he realized that I can't do this much, and the budget I'll give you what the budget may be 150 million top. If it topples that, it's 170. But those asses will not see $200 million on the budget. They will not. They'd have lost too much money out of these other films, especially The Flash. The Flash was the biggest one they lost. So, as always, guys, like, subscribe. Peace. Have a Johnson Gay. And, yeah, that's what I think about James Gunn.